Good day and welcome to the Bilibili 2021 second financial quarter results and business update conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference to Juliet Yang, Executive Director of Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. During this call, we'll discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially from those mentioned in today's news release and in this discussion due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filing with the SEC and Hong Kong Stock Exchange. The non-GAAP financial measures we provided are for comparison purpose only. Definition of these measures and a reconciliation table are available in today's news release issued earlier today. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. In addition, an investor presentation and webcast replay of this conference call will be available on Bilibili IR website at ir.bilibili.com. Joining us today from Bilibili senior management are Mr. Rui Chen, Chairman of the Board and Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Carly Li, Vice Chairwoman of the Board and Chief Operating Officer, and Mr. Sam Fan, Chief Financial Officer. And I will now turn the call over to Mr. Fan, who will read the prepared remarks on behalf of Mr. Chen.
Thank you, Juliet. And thank you everyone for participating in our 2021 second quarter results conference call. I'm pleased to deliver today's opening remarks on behalf of Mr. Chen. In August 2019, we announced our ambition to further grow our user base. Today, 2 years later, we found ourselves on the fast track to executing that strategy, achieving many great milestones along the way. In the second quarter, we added 14 million MAUs sequentially, bringing our total MAUs to 237 million, up 38% year-over-year. Mobile MAUs also rose by 44% year-over-year, reaching 220 million, and the DAUs reached 63 million, marking a 24% increase year-over-year. Importantly, our users become even more engaged, spending an average of 81 minutes per day on our platform, marking the highest second quarter level in our operating history. As we move into the peak summer season, we are pleased with the increasing momentum we have seen so far, which places us firmly on track to achieve our growth target. Our robust user growth also translated to strong top-line expansion. In the second quarter, our total revenues reached RMB 4.5 billion, up 72% year-on-year, once again beating the high end of our guidance. Driven by improved products and services, MPUs was up 52% year-over-year to 21 million, and our paying ratio improved to 8.8% versus 7.5% in the same period last year. As the go-to destination for young Chinese, our platform has also gained a wider recognition among advertisers across different industry verticals. In the second quarter, ad revenue grew by an impressive 201% year-over-year. Celebrating our 12th-year anniversary on June 26, we honor the many years we have grown with our users. Over the past 12 years, we have remained true to our original aspirations to create an outstanding community for all of our users and content creators, and to bring Chinese original content to users worldwide. With this mission in our heart, we continue to uphold our public responsibility to our community. We insist on data authenticity, content positivity, and invest in made in China original content. In July of this year, we published our first ESG report. Here we outline our ESG policies and actions, deepening our commitment to being a responsible public company with a goal of bringing positive social and cultural impact to the world. Looking ahead, the transformative efforts of visualization is creating an era of massive opportunity for us. Graphics and the text are being reinterpreted into video format to deliver information in more lively, vivid, and powerful ways. As we see it, video format platforms will be the new gateway for people to connect to the internet and access the world. And Bilibili is on track to be one of them. The momentum from video trends, along with our solid strategic execution to expand our content, community, and commercialization, give us great confidence in our future sustainable growth. With that overview, I would now like to provide more granularity on our second quarter operations, beginning with content. Our PUGV ecosystem continued to thrive, representing 93% of our total video views in the second quarter. Over the past 12 years, we have curated our platform as a destination for young people to showcase their talent and realize their career goals as professional content creators. We continue to improve our services to attract content creators, launch more tools, and modify our apps to make content creation easier. In the second quarter, Bilibili was home to 2.4 million content creators, up 25% year-over-year, and the monthly video submission grew to 8.4 million in the second quarter, up 41% year-over-year. The increase in our metrics are no small feat given last year's high base. We continue to improve our traffic distribution mechanism to let high-quality content creators quickly match with their fans. In the second quarter, the number of content creators with more than 10,000 followers increased by 47% year-over-year. Our live broadcasting platform and the Sparkle advertising platform provide means of our content creators to unlock their commercial value while showcasing their talent. By the end of the second quarter, 409,000 content creators had also joined our ongoing cash incentive program. For the second quarter, our top 5 most populated verticals were the lifestyle, entertainment, game, tech and knowledge, and anime. We see many new verticals on the rise, such as relationships, home decorations, fitness, beauty, and cosmetics. The emerging popularity of these categories reflects evolving content needs as we expand to wider demographics. Being a hub for young minds to discover and explore various interests, we firmly believe the content we provide should have positive impact on people's lives. We actively promote content that is informative, engaging, fulfilling, and help our users to become their better shape. It could be a small pleasure, such as how to bake cookies, or engage users in deeper thinking through a guidance into the cosmos. In the past 12 months, over 130 million users access pen knowledge content across a variety of subjects on our platform, such as solidifying the mindshare among users of Learn on Bilibili. Turning to our OGV content, augmenting our PUGVs and unlocking commercialization potential, our high-quality OGV content continues to attract new users and convert paying users on our platform. In addition, many of our self-produced titles have become valuable IP assets that we can build up, as we leverage our network to further on our IP influence. Representing Chinese culture and a part of China's soft power, Chinese animation has become increasingly popular domestically and internationally, and our investment in this category are paying off. A primary example for our evolving IP creation and self-production capability is Link Click, 时光代理人. Produced by our own anime studio, this Bilibili original IP asset become an immediate hit following its release in April, accumulating over 150 million video views. Partnering with Sony Funimation, Link Click was released in multiple countries and regions where it continues to be highly rated. Other popular Chinese anime titles have also helped us to attract many new young users. It has been well received by overseas anime lovers. These titles further solidify our leading position in the ACG space, including the final chapter of Linkage, 玲珑, Legend of Hei, 罗小黑战记, Season 2 of Cup Reborn, 元龙, and Heaven Official Blessing, 天官赐福. Our self-produced matchmaking variety show, 灵魂界所, was launched last week, and the music variety show, The Next Banner, 我的音乐你听吗, will be released in August. With this new OGV offering, we hope to attract more young minds with relevant interests and stimulate even more discussion within our community. Turning to our community continues to be a vibrant one. Users are incredibly engaged and tightly bonded both to our content and with our platform. Over time, we have become a part of many people's regular daily routines. For the second quarter, average daily video views were up by 48% year-over-year, reaching 1.7 billion. Monthly interactions were also up by 39% year-over-year, with users generating 7.3 billion bullet chats, comments, likes, Bilibili moment posts, and virtual gifting. The number of official members on Bilibili are also increasing with high retention rate. By the end of second quarter, 121 million people were official Bilibili members, an increase of 35% from the end of the second quarter last year. And our 12-month retention rate remained around 80%. In fact, more than 50% of our registered users in 2011 still remain active to this day, 10 years later. Over the years, we continue to evolve our community management system to ensure a friendly and welcoming community environment and inspiring positive social interaction. We strongly believe that a community is a place for people to reach consensus, not to create disputes. In addition to our official member mechanism, we continue to reinforce community member patrol and enhance our designated response team to protect the integrity of the community. With this effort, we hope to create an enjoyable and lovely place for all users and creators to share, learn, and thrive. Now let's look at our commercialization progress. We continue to provide more products and services. As we execute our commercialization strategy, we are further realizing the deep value of our high-quality users. Starting with our games. In the second quarter, revenue from our mobile game remained relatively flat year-over-year at RMB 1.2 billion. Going into the second half of the year, our priorities are to expand our mobile game roster domestically and internationally. For our next stage of growth, we're committed to building on our internal development capabilities. We currently have 6 game studios with over 1,000 members working on a dozen projects, leveraging our game operating experience, rich PUGV and live broadcasting ecosystem, strong distribution power, and our deep understanding of users' preferences. We are confident we can bring exceptional internal development games to our users. We welcome the 3 new titles to our roster in the second quarter as the exclusive distributor in China. Employing user-centric game promotion techniques such as clever memes and PUGV content, players immediately embraced Guardian Tales 砍宫奇冠剑, with the game ranking highly on China's iOS top grossing and top download charts for weeks following its release. Our exclusively licensed indie game that sells 头身细胞 was another prime example of Bilibili distribution power. By the end of July, over 2 million copies had been sold. Overseas market represents with another growth opportunity. In May, we successfully launched Refinal Gear 重装战机 in South Korea, praised for its dedicated art design and innovative gameplay. Refinal Gear quickly won the hearts of like-minded ACG lovers. For 3 weeks after its release, Refinal Gear continued to hover on Google Play's top 10 grossing chart in South Korea. This success story demonstrates our established capabilities in game selection and execution in overseas markets. We believe we can build on this success with other titles in other regions. As for our game pipeline, we currently have 11 titles approved for domestic release and a number of ACG titles slated for international release in the coming quarter. During our recent Bilibili game press conference, The Fantasy World, we introduced 16 brand new titles, including 10 exclusive licensed games and 6 self-development projects, catering to a new generation of gamers. These titles covered a wide array of genres, including sandbox, multiplayer puzzle solving, real-person interactive RPG, simulation, and MOBA. Each title features unique graphic design and a story setting, reflecting Bilibili's understanding of Gen Z plus gamers' tastes and preferences. Looking at our VAS business, our VAS business remains strong, with revenue reaching 1.6 billion in the second quarter, up 98% year-over-year. Being a natural extension to our video ecosystem, live broadcasting is a vivid way to bring high-quality video content to our users. And for our content creators, it is also an important channel to engage with their followers and realize commercial value for their creation. For game lovers, we are a one-stop platform for game-related videos, esports tournaments, and a place to engage with game KOLs. For ACG and entertainment enthusiasts, our content continues to expand with our huge anime library and unique live broadcasting entertainment, particularly virtual streamer or VR content. Over 60% of top global VRs have now joined our Bilibili live broadcasting network, making us the largest VR community in China. Turning to our premium member business, our dominant Gen Z plus users continue to show growing propensity to pay for premium content. By the end of the second quarter, the number of premium memberships reached another record high of 17.4 million, an increase of 56% year-over-year. As for our advertising business, we are pleased with another quarter of explosive growth for our ad business. Revenues grow by 201% year-over-year to RMB 1.05 billion. More and more advertisers have recognized us as a must-invest platform to gain visibility from Gen Z plus demographics. For the second quarter, the top 5 advertising verticals were mobile games, digital and 3C products, skincare and cosmetics, e-commerce, and food and beverage. Along with increasing our brand awareness, we continue to improve the efficiency of our ad matching algorithm and strengthen our ad products, giving us confidence in our ability to secure continuous ad revenue growth. In summary, we are pleased with our business progress so far. We have set the bar high and aim to reach higher. Building our content ecosystem driving model, we will continue to grow our vibrant community and enhance our commercialization capabilities. At the same time, we place great importance on our social responsibility, with a goal of spreading positivity to the world around us. Whether it's been through our Bilibili schools, disaster relief efforts, or pandemic support, it is essential for us to always lead with integrity and give back to society. This concludes Ms. Chen's remarks. I will now provide a brief overview for our financial results for the second quarter of 2021 and outlook for the third quarter. Total net revenue for the second quarter were 4.5 billion, up 72% from the same period of 2020. We continue to see a more balanced revenue mix driven by our diversified commercialization channel. Our total net revenues breakdown by revenue streams were approximately 27% mobile games, 36% VAS, 23% advertising, and 40% e-commerce and other business. Cost of revenue increased by 74% year-over-year to 3.5 billion. Revenue sharing costs, a key component of cost of revenues, were 1.7 billion, representing a 70% increase from the same period in 2020. Gross profit increased by 64% year-over-year to 989 million, and our gross margin was 22% in the second quarter. Total operating expenses was 2.5 billion, up 170% from the same period in 2020. Selling and marketing expenses was 1.4 billion, representing 107% increase year-over-year. The increase was primarily attributed to increased channel and marketing expenses to promote our app and brand, as well as promotional expenses for mobile games and an increase in headcount in sales and marketing personnel. G&A expenses was RMB 436 million, representing a 109% increase year-over-year. The increase was primarily due to increased headcount in general and administrative personnel, increased share-based compensation expenses, and higher rental expenses. R&D expenses were RMB 674 million, representing 104% increase year-over-year. The increase was primarily due to increased headcount in research and development personnel and increased share-based compensation expenses. Net loss was 1.1 billion for the second quarter of 2021, compared with 571 million in the same period of 2020. Adjusted net loss, which is a non-GAAP measure that excludes share-based compensation expenses, amortization expenses, income tax related to intangible assets acquired through business acquisitions, was 858 million, compared with 476 million in the same period of 2020. Basic and diluted net loss per share were 2.91. Adjusted basic and diluted net loss per share were 2.23. As of June 30, 2021, we had cash and cash equivalents, time deposits, as well as short-term investments of 27.6 billion, compared with 12.8 billion as of December 31, 2020. Our sufficient cash reserve gives us more confidence in our ability to execute our growth strategy, which we believe will yield considerable return in the long run. With that in mind, we are currently projecting net revenue for the third quarter of 2021 to be between 5.1 billion and 5.2 billion. Thank you for your attention. We would like now to open the call to your questions. Operator, please go ahead.
As a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, it is star followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad if you wish to ask a question. If you wish to cancel your request, please press the pound or hash key. Please note there might be a slight pause as we collate the Q&A roster. Once again, it is star followed by the number 1 to ask a question. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask a question to management in Chinese, please immediately repeat your question in English. Please limit your questions to 1 at a time. If you wish to have follow-up questions, please rejoin the queue. Once again, it is star 1 to ask a question. We have the first question. This is coming from the line of Li Zhang from Bank of America. Please go ahead.
嗨，管理层晚上好，谢谢接受我的提问，恭喜强劲的业绩。然后我的问题主要是关于用户这一块的。看到往年的 Q2 其实是用户的淡季，但我们今年 2Q 用户的增长的数据和环比跟同比都很好，不知道有没有一些 color 可以给大家提供一下。然后呢，如何看待我们下半年的一个用户增长的目标，还有我们之前给的这个长期的用户目标，不知道管理层现在是怎么想的？然后我自己翻译一下。Thanks management for taking my question and congrats on strong set of results. My question is mainly on the user growth. Can you give us more color on the second quarter's user growth, which is typically a low season, but our growth number was pretty good. Then secondly, how should we look at the second half user trend and our long-term user target? Thank you.
我们上半年在用户增长方面做的应该是不错的，这个应该也是首先得益于我们内容生态驱动的这种模型，因为这种模型是 用户增长越到后面，它越会体现出它的一个竞争力，就是因为它是一个真正的健康的，它符合内容这个产业本质的一种增长模型。
So the first half performance, we did a pretty good job. I think that's all thanks to our content ecosystem-driven business model. And this model's character is the longer term it develops, we think the more competitive it is, because this is a truly healthy business model that's self-driven and sustainable.
对，我相信那个就是听这个财报会的分析师们或者投资人们也有不少是 B 站的用户，就是你们应该可以感觉到，就是 B 站上面的内容越来越好，越来越丰富，这个就是我们用优质内容吸引用户的这样的一个驱动的一个策略。我认为就是 B 站在内容的质量上和丰富程度上，在未来是会持一个非常持续的一个增强。其实我自己看 B 站的时候，我都经常会惊叹说这个内容越来越好了，以及我都经常会惊叹于居然有这样的这个内容。所以的话就是那个我觉得这种模式我本身认为它是一个就它会是一个非常健康的一个模式，而且的话我对这个模式未来持续的就是因为这种模式未来持续的带来用户增长我应该是非常有信心的。
So I believe many of the participants for today's call is Bilibili user yourself. And I believe you might have the same feeling as I do while using Bilibili, that the content on Bilibili is more and more diversified and more high quality. Sometimes for my personal use on Bilibili, I will be surprised to find out the diversity, the vastity, and depth of our content offerings. So I believe the business model that we're running is very, very healthy, and we believe this model can bring our long-term sustainable growth.
对，关于那个接下来的那个就是我们用户增长的一个预期，因为现在 Q3 已经过了一半了嘛，就是我觉得从 Q3 来看的话，其实我们用户增长的数量和质量都还是挺好的。我记得我们在年初的时候曾经预测过，就是我们今年能够做到2.6亿的一个月活，从目前来看，我们肯定是能够达到这个目标，甚至超过这个目标的。
So as for our long-term user guidance, currently we have already experienced half of the Q3. So far what we have observed in Q3, that we see very good progress in terms of user growth for both quality and quantity. And early this year we have given out a user forecast for this year that our MAU will reach 260 million. So far we think we should be quite on track to achieve that goal or even surpass that goal.
从更长期来看，我们也曾经预测过，到2023年我们可以完成4亿月活的这么一个那个目标。从我目前来看，我觉得也是很有信心达到这个目标的。
So as for our long-term goal of 400 million MAU by end of 2023, so far we feel very confident to achieve that goal. Well on track.
而且的话，我还特别想强调的就是，我觉得那个就是B 站的用户增长其实最大的优势是在用户增长的一个质量就是我们不仅仅是把用户忽悠进来看，而是他真的是会认可这个平台的内容，以及他愿意长期的留下来。我们可以看到，就是从趋势来看，虽然我们用户增长那个越来越快，用户规模越来越大，但是我们每个用户的每日平均使用时长的这个数字其实是在增加的，就这个季度是到了81分钟。
And one thing I want to emphasize that Bilibili's user growth, the best of it is its quality, that we have maintained very high quality of user growth. From our perspective, we're not only just attracting users to join Bilibili, but they actually really recognize the value of the platform and they're willing to stay with us for long term. Even though that we have experienced a very fast, healthy user growth in the past, we've noticed that engagement level and the activeness of our user is still growing. That in the second quarter, our daily user time spent reached 81 minutes. That is the best result we've seen compared with our previous second quarter time spent.
而且的话，就是我们看这个用户长期的一个活跃度，它也是在那个持续增加的。比如说我们2018年到2020年之间注册的用户，在2021年的这个活跃，它其实也是跟过去相比同比是上涨的，就是这个活跃度。
And additionally, we see the long-term engagement level for our user is also improving. Actually, we've seen that the registered user in 2018, 19, and 2020, their DAU to MAU engagement level in 2021 is actually improving on a year-on-year basis.
而且我们可以看到，就是我们每个季度也会公布出我们的就是VV， 就是视频的那个观看数以及用户的这种互动数，然后这个数字的增长，它其实也是高于我们 MAU 的增长。
And every quarter we release our daily BB and our monthly user engagement number, and that year-on-year growth rate is actually faster than our MAU growth rate.
这都是表明，就是用户吸引进来了以后，它不仅能够留存下来，而且它还越来越活跃。
So all of those metrics shows that we are not only be able to attract users to join our platform, they actually stay with us and become more engaged.
OK。
好的，谢谢魏总的分享，非常有用。希望 B 站可以持续为大家提供好的内容。
谢谢。Thank you.
Finally, we have the next question. This is coming from Alex Poon from Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层接受我的提问，恭喜非常强劲的业绩，特别是广告增长方面。我的问题是关于广告的。今年上半年我们广告增长收入超过200%的增长。想问一下，我们应该怎么看下半年和未来的广告增长的收入的趋势和增长点？也考虑到最近各种的监管要求，比如说数据收集、开屏广告、教育行业等等。I'll translate my question. My question is regarding the advertising business. Congrats on very strong growth of over 200% for 2 quarters. Given that there are recently regulations around data privacy, flash screen ads, education, etc., how should we forecast and look at the second half growth, and where will the growth drivers come from? Thank you very much.
谢谢。就这个季度在财务收入上，我们第一次超过了10个亿，同比增长超过了200%，确实已经实现了9个季度的超预期的增长。
So for second quarter, our quarter ad revenue has surpassed 1 billion for the first time and achieving over 200% year-on-year growth. And this is the 9th consecutive quarter that we deliver beat advertisement results.
为了下半年以及更长期未来几年商业变现效率和广告的收入，其实在这个季度我们还是除了历史的基础建设以外，还是做了几件比较关键的事情。
As we look into the second half and for the next few years, we've done several things to continue to improve our ad efficiencies and lay solid foundation for our future ad growth.
首先的话，在商业产品上，我们主要还是围绕客户的需求，把 B 站拓展的多场景化实现了，就实现一次一个客户只要在 B 站进行了投放，可以在 B 站生态的不同的场景跟不同的端口，可以精准的多次触达用户。 这个其实可以方便我们的品牌快速的建立跟用户之间的心智认知，这个在这个季度已经基本上推进跟实现。
So first of all, we have continued to explore multiple scenarios for our ad products based on our clients' needs. And we hope to help our clients to precisely reach their target audiences multiple times across various scenarios across Bilibili's product ecosystem and quickly build their brand image through just one campaign investment. And we have already achieved that within this quarter.
同时 B 站的整个广告模式是整合营销的方式，我们很积极的去尝试了很多新形态的模式。其实广告的视频化跟广告与 UP 主创意链接将会是个大方向。刚才其实你也提到监管的问题，其实监管的逻辑更多是希望消费人群被告知的情况下去看到广告。但是 B 站的广告逻辑一直都是我们希望做到的广告是非阻拦式的广告，这是第一点。第二点，做的所有的广告是我们倾向于内容即广告，广告即内容。好的内容可以是很好的广告，但很好的广告依然可以是很好的内容。这个就是在我们 UP 主生态跟整合营销上其实已经验证，也比较顺利成功的点。
Secondly, we are also actively exploring new ad formats, including ad in a video format, as well as connect advertising with content creators' creativity. The regulatory environment you mentioned, we believe that the foundation or the logic behind it is that the regulatory hope our consumer will be notified. It is advertisement. And what Bilibili has been practicing is, first of all, we all of our advertisements will not be a blockage type of advertisement. We hope really to embed and connect and combine content with advertisement, make it more interchangeable. Good content could be a good commercial, and good commercial could be a good content. And from that perspective, our integrated marketing solution, as well as our content creators' own creation, their own production towards native ads, is a perfect solution towards that problem.
第二点的话，我们还是继续的把我们的算法策略的商业技术团队进行了进一步的加强，就实现了变现效率持续的高速提升。这个部分除此以外，我们还是会对广告前沿的这个技术进行深入的研究以及沉淀。
And secondly, our ad efficiency was also greatly improved in this quarter thanks to our ad tech and Argo team, and we're also investing in frontier ad tech related R&D.
第三点的话，我们还是会把本来的品类优势提供了完整的解决行业方案，例如游戏、数码、教育、电商、食品饮料等等。那跟随着用户增长的节奏，我们还是积极的拓展了新的行业跟大预算的行业，就例如汽车跟新国货，在这个季度都能看到很明显的变化。
And thirdly is that we will be focusing on our leading verticals and provide industry-based ad solutions such as game, technology, education, e-commerce, and food and beverage, and etc. And as we expand our user base, we hope to further expand our new ad industry verticals and verticals with sufficient ad budget, for example, such as automotive and new domestic consumer goods. And all of that has been reflected in our second quarter's ad performances.
最关键的，这个季度我们还是对商业化团队的架构进行了升级，把原来的商业流量的管理系统、广告系统以及花火系统打造成了 B 站的商业中台，主要是挖掘 B 站生态的商业资源，分配商业流量，同时提高变现效率。
And most importantly, we have upgraded our organizational structure of our commercialization team. And the second quarter, we have integrated Bilibili commercialization middleware platform consists of commercial traffic management system, ad system, and our Sparkle advertisement system. The purpose of doing so is to further optimize and allocate Bilibili's commercial resources and improve our commercialization efficiency.
同时的话，整合营销团队和 UP 主的营销团队也合并成了一个大的营销中心，为客户可以提供 B 站特色的整合营销方案的同时，我们会帮助品牌在 B 站去实现品牌资产的沉淀，以及在 B 站内部实现营销路径的内循环。
And additionally, we have also regrouped ourselves from integrated marketing team and our content creator related sales team, forming one centralized sales center. The goal is to provide Bilibili featured integrated marketing solutions and help our clients to improve their brand equity and achieve self-reinforcing marketing circulation on Bilibili.
平台的广告价值其实我们一直都认为是取决于用户价值。刚才其实岳总也反复提到了 B 站的用户价值的内容。那 B 站现在平均用户的年纪其实到了 22.8 岁，那 86% 的话还是35岁以下，他们平均还大部分在1、2线城市。这批用户我们还是很相信是中国未来消费的主力军，那 B 站也占据了最高的广告价值人群的平台，所以在这样的先天优势下，我们还是会坚定的把广告业务的基建做好。下半年还有未来的1到3年，我们还是很有信心去保持一种健康同时高速的增长。
So there's a saying that the platform value equals the user's value on this platform, and Mr. Chen has repeatedly mentioned the value of the user. Our current average age of our user is around 22.8 years old, and 86% of our users are under 35, and majority of them are in first and second tier cities. And for this group of cohort, they are the main consumption groups for in China, and they represent the highest value of demographics. And building on that advantage, we'll continue to reinforce our infrastructure and continue to improve our app product. And for the second half of this year and 1 to 3 years ahead, we're still quite confident to maintain a healthy and fast growth for our app business.
Thank you.
谢谢 Carly， 谢谢 Julian。
The next question comes from the line of Alex Yao from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层给我这个问题的机会啊，也这个再次恭喜非常强劲的业绩。那 Carly 刚才从广告的角度讲了一下你们对于这个监管环境变化的一些理解啊，那我这个换一个角度，就是对于这种数字娱乐方面，特别是游戏和直播这两个行业的这个监管政策的变化，对咱们 B 站的业务有没有什么影响啊？那我自己翻译一下。So my question is about the regulatory impact on gaming and the live streaming operation, given the changing regulatory environment in the space, and potentially more policy coming out in the next couple of quarters. How should we think about the impact on our gaming and the live streaming operation? Thank you.
其实今年并没有什么对于游戏和对于视频这个行业那个监管的明显的变化。我觉得最近所有关于这种游戏跟视频行业监管变化的讨论，我看到其实都是在自媒体层面的讨论。因为我们也会那个就是 接触很多的，比如说那个和政府对话之类的，但是我们说实话，从公司层面，我们并没有感觉到就是这一块的政策，就是游戏跟视频方面的监管的政策，那个就是近期有什么变化。我觉得更多的就是感觉就是自媒体在讨论，或者是网上的人在讨论，然后讨论的东西呢，我觉得以猜测和想象为主，其实并没有什么，就在我看来并没有什么那个就是所谓的这种依据啊之类的，就是我其实觉得那个对于那个游戏也好，对于视频也好，甚至说是对于整个互联网行业来说也好，全世界各个国家那个就是他们对于这些方面的监管，从趋势来看都是越来越规范的。然后其实今年并没有什么在这块并没有什么新的消息，就是视频跟那个游戏方面。
So actually, for 2021, what we have observed, there's no significant change of the regulatory environment towards games or towards live broadcasting. The speculation and discussion that's all over the internet is just based on the media. It came from the media level. And as a company ourselves, we have kept a regular dialogue with different government authorities. And from the company's perspective, we actually haven't heard anything new. And the discussion is generally from the media or the internet users, and it's just based on their own speculations or imaginations, and there's no ground to those discussions. And from our perspective, we think that from a global perspective, the regulation towards internet content, game or live broadcasting, it will be more and more standardized and rule-based, and that hasn't changed.
对，我这儿再多说几句吧。其实就是包括过去，就是我们 B 站一直以来啊，就是我们对于那个就是政策的一个监管，其实我们的态度都是很积极的。因为我觉得对于一个大的并且发展很快的一个行业，就是那个政策的监管促使这个行业朝健康的方向发展，它是必要
的。From our perspective, in the past, Bilibili has always responded very actively towards all kinds of regulations from the government. We believe for industry that's experiencing fast growth, certain regulation is actually beneficiary for this industry's long-term and healthy growth.
而且的话，就随着一个行业的发展越来越大，它势必对于社会的影响也会跟过去不一样。然后在这种情况下，就是对于这个行业的监管变得更规范、更细致，我认为也是很自然的。视频这个行业未来一定是超过1万亿的一个产值，然后游戏未来一定是主流的娱乐的这种方式。所以我认为就是它跟过去不一样的，过去它可能是个新兴的，所以的话可能政府也不知道具体怎么去那个细节上去要求，而随着这个行业越发展越成熟，影响力越来越大，它对于细节上的一个要求肯定会越来越规范，我觉得这也是个自然现象。
So we think as the industry's development, as it has more influence and impact towards the society, it's a very, very natural process for the regulation to become more rule-based and standardized. And I believe the video industry, it will be a multi-billion, trillion RMB worth of industry. And games probably will become very likely to become the mainstream format of entertainment. And in the past, it probably is emerging new verticals, and the details of those regulations were not mature. And as you grow bigger, it's just very natural for the regulatory to form up of a more standardized and rule-based regulatory environment.
而且政府对于视频也好、游戏也好方面的这个监管， 它的这个措施也都是非常明确的，就是非常清晰的。就首先他们是那个希望看到这个行业发展的，他们是鼓励这个行业健康发展的。然后其次的话就是他们对于那个就是不希望出现的一些点，他们的要求也是非常明确的。比如说对于未成年人游戏的一个能不能够有限制，比如说对于内容的合规性、合法性的一个要求都是非常明确的。就是反正对于我们公司嘛，就对于 B 站在过去在这一块，我觉得我们的工作也一直是很清晰以及很明确的。
So we think that the government's regulation towards video content and game content has been very clear. And in general, they do hope this industry will develop, and they encourage the development of this industry. And they have been very specific on the things that they hope to regulate. One is on the minor protection, two is the compliance of the content itself. And in the past and up to now, Bilibili has been very clear on those requirements and has followed and implement all the regulatory requirements.
对，所以我感觉对于视频也好，对于游戏也好，就是它发展的这个趋势肯定是朝这个往前发展的这个方向走。然后同时的话，我觉得像我们这样的那个互联网公司，我们也一定会做好相关的就是政府的一些，就是达到政府的一些这种要求，比如说在那个未成年人的游戏啊，比如说在内容的合法性、合规性啊这些方面，就是我个人来看的话，其实我对这方面一直是乐观的，我觉得行业一定会那个发展的越来越好，并且那个越来越健康。
So generally, I think that the game industry will definitely move forward and experience better development. And as an internet company, we'll be fully compliant with the key areas that the government has specifically required. One is on the minor protection, and two is on the compliance of the content itself. My personal view is we're still very optimistic. I believe that this industry will only become better and better under the supervision of the government.
而且的话，就是这个行业它跟10年前不一样的是，那个如果说10年前它还带着有这种一些野蛮生长的一种感觉的话，我觉得现在这个行业其实都挺成熟了，就从业的公司都已经至少是10几年的这么一个从业的一个经历了。所以的话，就是我觉得行业的从业者其实也能够很清晰的那个认识到健康发展对这个行业的一个重要性，这其实是一个共识。就这个共识就是行业的公司和政府已经形成了这样的一个共识。事实上我们也在那个比如说减少那个未成年人玩游戏的一个时间。就从我们内部统计的数据来看，那个18岁以下的用户在我们游戏里的充值占我们的是从2021年的统计数据来看，就占我们的这个游戏的收入是在1%左右。就是事实上所有的游戏公司也都在去限制和减少一些就是在我们看来不健康的一些方面的一些影响。所以的话就是我觉得目前的一个形势它其实是朝积极的方向发展。
Generally, I think that this industry is quite different from 10 years ago. Probably in 10 years ago, it's still an early stage. There's not a very precisely regulated. But 10 years later, this industry has become much more matured. The participants in this industry also gain more experience, over 10 years of experience. I think we have already reached a consensus with the industry players and the regulatory is that the industry needs to be regulated towards a healthy development path. And from Bilibili's perspective, we have strictly followed that rules. For example, on the minor protections, that the revenue generated from user that's below 18 years old, the game revenue only takes about takes around 1% of our total game revenue. So we have been implementing restrictions and rules to better protect our minors and follow the regulatory requirements. So I think overall the industry is growing towards a more healthy and positive track, and I personally feel quite comfortable with the existing environment.
对，最后总结一下吧，就是我觉得就是过去几个月我并没有感觉到在游戏跟视频的这种监管政策方面有什么大的变化。然后我们一直觉得就政府在这方面的监管是合适的，并且是科学的。然后而且的话，行业里的厂商对于这些监管的方向也是认可的，这个已经形成了一个行业的共识。所以我觉得整个行业的形势是积极的。
So to summarize, in the past few months, I personally don't believe there's a vast change of regulatory environment towards games or video. And we believe the existing practice and requirement from the government is very appropriate and scientific. And we believe our peers in this industry also agree with that and already reached a consensus that this industry needs to be moved towards a more healthy and regulated path.
Okay.
The next question comes from the line of Felix Liu from UBS. Please go ahead.
晚上好，管理层。首先恭喜我们这一次非常强劲的业绩。我有一个问题，就是关于我们的毛利率。我看到这个季度我们的毛利率环比和同比都相对可能有一些季节性的这个 weakness。我想了解一下背后的原因，然后我们对于接下来下半年的这个毛利的趋势，还有中长期毛利的这个目标，有没有什么最新的 update？Let me translate myself. So first, congratulations on the strong set of results. My question is on the GP margin. I noticed the GP margin of this quarter showed some weakness Q-on-Q and year-on-year. So may I know the reason or any color behind that, and what is the management's thought on GP margin trend for the rest of this year and for the longer term potential? Thank you.
Okay, this is Sam. Let me take your question. You're right, the slight decrease of the margin in Q2 actually is mainly due to the change of the sales mix. In Q2 we saw the contribution of our game revenue actually was decreased as a percentage of the whole revenues, and there were also lower contributions from our cooperation games. So and also for our live broadcasting revenue, the gross profit margin also declined a little bit because we launched a campaign in Q2 to offer higher revenue sharing ratio. It's like a performance-based incentive, and it's for those new hosts only. So actually, if we look at the short-term GP margin trend, we are still in the early stage on the monetization side, so it will be fluctuating over the quarters. But before we get into the details of our long-term margin trend, I would like to emphasize on the way the strategic thinking of us on the profitability. While we have the opportunities to quickly expand our user base, our priority is always focus on user growth and top line expansion, rather than to limit our growth potential for the sake of the break even. When we are thinking about the path to the profitability, actually we are thinking what's the sensible revenue level to achieve a healthy break even status, and whether it's sustainable to keep improving the profitability after the break even. So for example, a company with like RMB 20 billion revenue and the same company with RMB 15 billion revenue, the bigger revenue size is surely more sustainable for long-term development. Over the past 12 months, actually we successfully achieved a quality revenue growth with the expansion of our user base. Our MAUs was up 38% year-over-year, and monetization efficiency per MAU was also increasing. Specifically, the non-games revenue per MAU actually increased by 72% year-on-year to around 13.8 RMB per quarter in Q2. We believe there are plenty of upside because we grow our user base and improve our monetization efficiency. And also on the cost side, our key relatively fixed operating costs, including the content, server, and the staff costs, decreased from like 34% of the total revenue in 2019 to 28% in Q2 this year. As we grow our top line and improve the efficiency, our revenue mix will also be more diversified, and our segment margin, such as live broadcasting and the online games, as I mentioned, still have room to improve. So that's just we want to look at for the long term gross profit margin trend.
Thank you. That makes sense. Very clear.
Thank you. We have the next question from Yuan Zhang from China Renaissance. Please go ahead.
谢谢各位早上好，恭喜非常好的业绩啊！我这边很快请教一下游戏的问题，因为看到上半年整个游戏收入是相对比较平稳的，我们应该怎么看就咱们下半年包括长期的一个游戏的增速呢？还有就是在游戏自研方面，我们主要考虑的因素有什么？Thanks for taking my question. So my question is regarding gaming. So in the first half, our gaming revenue is pretty stable. How should we looking at the second half and also the longer term gaming revenue growth? Additionally, when we do self-developed game, what key factors we do have in mind? Thank you.
我简单的回答一下，就关于游戏的你这个关于游戏的问题吧。确实就从那个过去一个季度来看，就是我们游戏的这个增速在放缓，然后我们自己其实是知道其中的原因的。其实主要的原因是供给侧的一个原因，因为无论我们的这个游戏的代理业务，还有我们的联运业务它的这个收入的增加，它都需要来自于这个新的游戏的这个接入但是呢，就是那个过去的半年，就整个市场上拿到版号的这个游戏太少。然后就导致呢，就是其实我们的这个供给，游戏的供给是低于预期的，就无论是代理还是联运。然后同时的话，那个也是因为同样的一个原因，我们有些游戏的档期也延后了，所以的话就是我们游戏的业务的这个收入的增速也受影响，也变低了。
Indeed, when we look at our game revenue, it has experienced some of the slowdown in the first half of this year. The main reason that we see is because lack of supply. For both of our exclusively licensed games and jointly operated games, for the revenue to grow, we need to get more new games. And because of the overall permit issue process in the past 6 months, that there has been some of the delay and the supply has been slower than expected. And for the same reason, some of our projects have been delayed. And that was the main reason for the slowdown for our game revenue.
但是除了这个供给侧的因素之外，我们还看到了更多积极的因素。然后比如说就是其实我们的游戏的用户，就看游戏视频的用户和看游戏直播的用户是增长的很快的，就是它的这个增长速度，它和我们整体 MAU 增长的速度是同比的。然后而且的话，就是我们还可以看到，就是在这个游戏的这个供给不足的一个情况下，我们其实每次发布新游戏的时候，这个单款游戏的新增都是越来越高的，都是破纪录的。就是从我们那个上半年，无论是发砍工还是发刀剑神域，单款游戏的新增都是破了纪录。这个证明什么呢？就证明B 站用户对游戏的渴望跟需求是很迫切的。然后这个是第二个。然后第三个呢，就是我们就是持续运营的游戏，它有不少游戏它的收入是越来越高的就是跟那个过去几年相比，就无论是我们看我们的那个就是碧蓝航线，还是我们联运的这个原神，那个它的用户都是在变多，然后那个它的那个收入也在变高。所以的话，它其实证明 B 站 这个平台想玩游戏的用户是变多的，然后并且的话，这些用户对于游戏的喜爱也是一直在持续的。
But we've also seen some positive signs as we operate our business. Besides the supply issue, we've seen on the demand side there's many positive signs. First of all, on the user, the game-related user who watch game-related live broadcasting and video actually kept growing with our overall MAUs. Even with the undersupply for game titles, for many new titles that we released in the first half of this year, including Guardian Tale and Sword Art Online, its new addition, new downloads and new user has constantly break a single game record. And on the other hand, for the old games, we are seeing its long operation cycle. Many of our games continue to grow in terms of revenue and users. For example, our Azure Lane, our exclusively licensed game Azure Lane, and our jointly operated game Jinsen Impact. We're seeing more users joining, and its growing are continuously to grow year over year. So generally, we think on Bilibili, the gamers are growing, and their desire and need for high quality games is also growing.
对，所以的话就是我们判断目前游戏业务的这个重点是很明确的，其实就是我们只需要去解决供给的问题，而我们解决供给问题的那个方法就是在我们继续加强我们的这种代理发行的这个业务之外，我们会在自研方面那个长期投入。其实我们去年就已经很明显的看到就是未来游戏行业的这个趋势了，就是那个它其实是缺这个供给，所以我们是从去年开始就逐步的在投入那个自研的那个团队。从目前来看的话，就是我们的那个游戏自研团队的这个规模已经超过1000人，然后并且我们也有同时几个项目然后在并行的研发，这些项目在明年跟后年都会陆续上线。我觉得那个就是从 B 站目前的业务规模来看，就是游戏自研会是我们当前阶段的第一重点，而且我预测就是在几年以后，我们应该有一半的游戏业务的收入是来自于我们自研的产品。
So, as we see it, we think as long as we solve the supply problem, we should be able to solve the bottleneck that we've been seeing in the past quarters. And the solution towards the supply problem is while we continue to enhance our licensing business, we will start to invest in our self-developed games. And actually in last year, we have already seen the trend of lack of supply in the market, and we started to invest in the self-developed game business. Currently, we have over 1,000 team members in our self-development team, and there's multiple titles and projects under development. And we'll be expecting to launch our own self-developed games in next year and the year after next year. So based on our existing business scale, we think our self-developed game will be our number one priority. And I believe in a few years later, our self-developed game should be contributing over half of our game revenue.
对，我这儿简单总结一下了，就是随着那个 B 站用户的一个增长，其实 B 站上面游戏的这个受众是越来越多的，就是游戏的这种观众受众是越来越多的，而且大家对于游戏的这个需求也是很强烈的。然后目前的话，就是我们游戏业务增速受影响的原因是因为供给受到了影响，然后而我们解决这个问题的这个方式就是增强供给。增强供给就是在我们持续在做好这个代理和联运业务的情况下，我们加强自研， 如果说我们的代理和联运是我们过去游戏增长的引擎，那么未来我们就会有第二个引擎，就是我们的自研，然后在两个引擎的驱动下，游戏业务的增长就会越来越快。
So to summarize, we believe as our user continue to expand, we should have more gamers and more demand for games. And to solve the supply problem, we'll continue to reinforce our licensing game business while investing in self-developed games. And in the past, we might have one engine for game revenue growth, which is the licensing, and in the next few years, there will be dual engine self-development, licensing, and jointly operation. And we think that should power our game revenue growth.
Okay.
Thank you. And that concludes our question and answer session for today. I would like to turn the conference back to the management for any additional or closing comments.
Well, thank you again for joining us today. If you have any further questions, please contact me, Julia Yang, Bilibili's IR Director, or TPG Investor Relations. Our contact information for IR in both China and the U.S. can be found on today's press release. Have a great day. Bye-bye.